things that toxic parents say which diminish who you are as a person, often destroying your self-esteem, destroying your self-worth, not recognising that you are enough, destroying your trust. When it comes to parents, parents should love and nurture and care and watch their child grow and develop into who that child is. Some parents might find it difficult. Some parents might have an ideal of who the child should be. Some parents have that ideal of what they think they know is best for the child. Some parents might try to step in too much to prevent the child making detrimental mistakes, not recognising that unfortunately sometimes we do have to back off a little bit and let our children develop and learn for themselves, and rather than our children fearing that our parents are going to kill us if they find out we've made a mistake at something, children thinking, oh, I've messed up here big time, I need help with this. I know I can call my parents, because as much as they know my behaviour is wrong, they will help me process it and deal with it and learn from it. Like the old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words do hurt on a deep emotional, psychological level. Words cause so many issues to people. And because it's been dismissed a lot that words don't cause issues, people can be very offensive towards one another, not recognising the deep-rooted issues this causes psychologically to people. So one thing a narcissistic parent might do is use those unhealthy comparisons with you and another person to triangulate you, to divide and conquer, to make you the scapegoat. This is when they're going to come at you and say, if only you were more like your sibling. Why can't you be more like your sibling? So if your parents are into art and your sibling is also into art, and your parents then favour that sibling because you're into sport and your parents aren't into sport, or vice versa. Your siblings into sports, your parents into sports. You're into art, your parents are not into art. Instead of watching you flourish at the things you naturally enjoy and want to tune into and want to do, and instead of helping you achieve those things, they're going to discredit you and sabotage you, and they're going to say things such as, oh, why can't you be more like your sibling? If only you were more like. They might use a sibling, they might use a cousin, they might even use one of your friends. And this can cause so many questions such as, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with the things that I enjoy? It can cause jealousy and frustration and resentment. It can cause feelings of not being enough. Parents should nurture their children into developing the skills that the children enjoy. And if the children enjoy them but don't actually want to do them, this is also a sign that we need to back off and let children figure out what they want out of life. Number 2, broken promises. Narcissistic parents are very good at future faking. So not only will they promise their partners something in the future to get their needs met in the present, they will promise their children things. They will say to the children, next week we shall go and do this, and then they fail to deliver on that promise, often claiming that the child cost them too much the week before so that they can no longer afford it. They're not doing it because they promised their child something and something cropped up so they were then unable to do it. This is a repeat pattern of behaviour where they forever promise to pick their children up and then let their children down, turn up late for their children, ignore children's events, say that they will be there for a school play, for an after-school activity, for a hobby, for a sporting event, and then be a no-show and claim that it's okay because your other parent went, your grandparents went. Now, there's a difference between a parent that has got to work, a parent who has got to be somewhere else, that can't go to these things and usually has parental guilt over it, that The child knows the parent can't go, and a parent saying, yes, I'll be there next time, and then next time comes and they're not there. I'll be there next time, and then next time comes and they're not there. We'll do this next week, and then next week comes and they do not do it. They're forever putting it away until you start to pull away from them, or till this child starts to pull away from them, and then they'll deliver on something to breadcrumb the child back in. Forever having promises broken on you, especially as a young child, breaks your trust in others. That feeling of betrayal, that feeling of not knowing what to believe when people tell you things, and the feeling of fear for reaching out for help or relying on other people, becoming very self-reliant because of how your parents let you down growing up. 3 offensive remarks: accusing you of being too fat, accusing you of being too thin, accusing you of eating too much, telling you that you shouldn't eat so much. Now, yes, parents, due to society, can want to protect their children, can want to help their children, can want to support their children. However, repeated insulting remarks done in a way to chip away at a child's self-esteem, or if one sibling is thin and one sibling is a little bit bigger, accusing the bigger sibling of, why can't you be more like your other sibling? Telling children that their nose is too big, that one lip's bigger than other. They ought to put more makeup around the lip. Their eyes are too far apart. Their eyes are too close together. Diminishing a child's looks. Telling a child that they don't look worthy, which inevitably creates that self-doubt in children. Children then worry about their body image, which can lead to so many eating issues, so many psychological disorders, due to the fact that their parents have programmed into them to be worried about their body image. Now, this doesn't always come from parents. This can also stem from friendship groups. However, if you've got a supportive parent at home that's going to ask, are you happy with the way you look? Because to me, you look great, but that's by the by. Are you happy with the way you look? And the child says, well, actually, I'm not quite happy about this. And then the parent can say, right, well, what can you do? I think you're perfect as you are, but you're uncomfortable with this. What can you do to change that for yourself? And then work on something to change that for the individual child, so that the child isn't hung up on what other people are telling them. So the child is only hung up on their own things that they can change. Things like going to a gym, things like going for a run, which is actually more for your psychological health than the shape of your body. These are all things that we can do. However, having a parent put you down is going to make you body conscious. It's going to make you self-conscious. Hurtful remarks, absolute remarks, such as, I wish you weren't here. I wish you were never born. I wish I'd never had you. I wish you were more like. I hate you. You're horrible. You're no child of mine. These remarks just make children feel invalidated and unworthy and like they shouldn't be here, and it's just not something that should be said to any child. Criticising remarks. You shouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that if I was you. Wow, didn't think you'd be able to do that. You can't do that. You're stupid. You're an idiot. Oh, stop being such an idiot. Do you really have to be so ridiculous? Do you really have to be so daft? Do you really have to be so stupid? I knew you'd never be able to do that. You could never achieve that. These words make a child feel like there is something wrong with them. Again, like they're just not enough as a person. It can lead to depression and anxiety. So it can lead to overworking as they strive to achieve something. It's that self-doubt when they turn around to you, and if your passion is something that isn't theirs, and then they'll say, oh, you'll never make it. It's hard enough to make it in life. Anything that you choose to do, most skills take dedication and hard work and time and effort and a learning curve, and we make the mistakes along the way. When you haven't got somebody supporting you through those mistakes, when you've got somebody validating your mistakes, whatever you're training as, whether you're training to be a hairdresser, a lorry driver, a doctor, a lawyer, it all takes training. It all takes time. And when you make a mistake and you've got someone saying, see, I knew you couldn't do that. No, you're so stupid, such an idiot. It validates the mistake that you've made. Whereas when you've got somebody supporting you, saying, hey, don't worry, it happens to the best of us, keep going, you'll get there. It helps you get through those hard times to achieve the things that you would like to achieve out of life. Obligation and guilt. It's good to teach children to help out around the home. It's good to teach children to take responsibilities. However, narcissistic parents don't want to take responsibilities. So they might get the eldest child to look after all the younger children. They might get the children to do all the housework. And they're going to turn around and say things, after all I've done for you, you're so ungrateful. If you've got to get on with some form of schoolwork for a project, they're not going to respect that you need to do this work for an achievement. They're going to want you to wait on them hand and foot. They're going to want you to clean the house. They're going to want you to look after your siblings. You might have important exams coming up that you need to study for and you're willing to study for. You're not kicking back watching the TV ignoring, you're trying to study and learn, but they want you to babysit your sibling, and they are going to guilt trip you into forgetting about your studies and babysitting your sibling. They want you to help around the house. They want you to serve them. They're not interested in where you're going in life. They're interested in how you can help them in life. And they're going to make you feel bad if you say no. They're going to say things like, after all I've done for you, you're so lucky to have me. Imagine if I wasn't here. Where would you live if it wasn't for me? Imagine if I just went elsewhere. And they're going to use imagine so that you begin to imagine not having a parent around, even though that parent is toxic, placing that fear of abandonment in you, that if you don't do for them, they're going to up and leave you, meaning you work harder and harder to please them, which when it's a narcissistic person, it's never going to be enough. A young child is going to work so hard to gain the approval of their parent. And when their parents are always disapproving of them, it can make children work so much harder to try and please them. Sometimes a child being emotionally abused by their parents doesn't stop loving their parent. They stop loving themselves. They don't feel enough within themselves. They don't feel good enough. They don't feel worthy. They don't feel deserving. So they go all out to try and feel that by people pleasing, by trying to please their parents, by trying to gain admiration from their parent. The same as when the parents turn around and say, you exhaust me, you cost me too much money. The narcissistic parent is placing all the blame on the child. They're shaming the child into feeling like they are a burden, which causes the child to self-isolate because they don't want to be a burden to others, because they know how horrible it felt being a burden to their own parents. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments. If anyone has any phrases you heard growing up as a child around narcissistic parents which diminished who you are as a person, please also add those into the comments. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.